I'm Micah Kinard from No Sleeper. The way I found God was actually I grew up in a Christian home where I was taken to church like all the time, and I think the first time I remember asking God into my life was at this weird theatrical like production of something called Heaven's Gates and Hell's Flames, and at that point I think I was about 13, and I was kind of scared into it. I didn't really understand what it was, but I just knew that hell was just a really bad place I didn't want to go to. So I decided I wanted to accept Christ in my life, and I did it. But I didn't really know what I did it for. I didn't know what it meant. Nothing in my life really changed. But it wasn't until I was about 20, I would say about 20, where I really kind of realized that a relationship with God is more of a relationship like you have with a friend than it is a religion, something that you have to do, something you have to like do, kind of like school almost. And from then on, like my real walk kind of began, and it's weird that it happened around that time when I actually met these guys in No Sleeper. It wasn't No Sleeper yet, but I met up with them. And I had been playing in a few bands for about 8 years, playing bass and stuff, and I felt this huge passion to write. I really wanted to write, but it was a real scary thing for me because the people I was playing with, the dudes in No Sleeper, like they were such talented musicians, and I was kind of scared to take on the reins as a lead singer around them, because I didn't think I'd have anything to contribute really. But I felt like God was really calling me to just trust Him, and this was one of the first like leaps of faith type thing that I actually did in my walk with God. And since then, I told them whenever we started that I wanted to write as honestly and as blunt as possible. Like when I was told about becoming a Christian, it sounded like just like a dream. It was like, okay, yeah, if you accept Christ and all your questions are answered, and you'll have waves of clarity just rush into your life. And quite frankly, that's the exact opposite of what happened whenever I accepted Christ. Like everything got harder. Everything was where I struggled more. Where I had questions, I had more questions and more doubts, more everything. And I really realized that it's more the way I see it. It's more like there's a spiritual war going on, and there's two sides to it. And whenever you don't choose a side, then you're not a threat to anyone. But the second you do choose a side, you have where you also have a team backing you up. You've got you've got a side that you're on. That means you also have an enemy. And the more you start doing for your side, the bigger a target you become for your enemy. And it just made total sense to me. Like I had a side. Now I had an identity in this. And through the band, I've really just tried to kind of, with the platform that I have in the band, try to kind of open that up for a discussion and really lay it on the table for anyone who maybe feels it the same way I did when I became a Christian. But my relationship with God is always changing. I'm always coming up with new questions and sometimes I'm afraid for the answers, but every time I look for them, it never fails. That it just furthers my belief in Him. And I think it's really His grace and how insanely broken I am, and how big of a screw up I am, and how I mess up every single day. Total just misfit, pretty much. The fact that He still allows me to get on stage and in front of the people that He loves his like creations. I can get up on stage and you know, say like how I found him. It just really baffles me. Like, I don't deserve it at all. But I in no way have it all figured out. I'm still figuring things out. I'm just excited for what comes next, I guess. I have tattoos. This is a sleeve that I'm working on. It's definitely a work in progress, but the elephants represent my family, where my mom, my dad, my sister, and me. When it's finished, this will be a white magnolia to represent my mom's side of the family, and this will be a purple orchid to represent my dad's side of the family. And I chose the elephants because I hugely attribute where I am to my family's support, and they've always protected me growing up and encouraged me to pursue what I love. And in being allowed to like kind of experience the world like how I wanted, and to like to go about it like that way with such support, I ended up finding God, where this lion right here represents Jesus in my life, because I see him more as a protector than like holding lambs and children. And then his mane's turning into water, and in the waves there's an archer, which represents everyone that God's put in my life to hold me accountable and to kind of back me up through it, like my band and everything. And reaching out of the waves is a hand, which represents me reaching towards a crown, which is ultimately in heaven. And I'm pretty excited about it. This was my first tattoo ever. Got it in Richmond on our first album. It says "Destroy, Rebuild," which is from one of my favorite Bible verses, Jeremiah 1-10, and it's kind of how my life verse, I guess, for the album, for the band.